You running drugs?
I'd rather die than tell you.
You'll send your strangers packing. I will.
Then they're gonna get us. You're already a dead man.
Whole, and so was I.
They want us.
It's in my last firefight.
They thought leaving Yellowstone meant leaving the danger behind. They were dead wrong, and episode 9 is about to prove it in the most brutal way possible. Everything changed the moment Joaquin picked up that phone. Think about that for a second. All season long, this show has been building toward one collision. The Duttons versus the Jacksons. Beth and Rip versus Rob Will. Good people fighting dirty people in dirty Texas soil. And just when you thought you understood the battlefield, Dutton Ranch flipped the entire board. Because Joaquin didn't just make a phone call at the end of episode 8. He pressed a button that no one can unpress. He called his biological father Mariano Reyes from a cemetery, and those 2 words he said, "Necesito tu ayuda," which means "I need your help," may turn out to be the most dangerous words spoken in this entire season. The actor who plays Joaquin literally described that phone call as pressing a nuke. He knew what it would cost. He did it anyway. And now episode 9, titled El Padrino, The Godfather, is here to collect. The finale drops July 3rd on Paramount+, and with a title carrying that kind of weight, El Padrino, Spanish for The Godfather, it is the kind of loaded, ominous signposting that Taylor Sheridan fans know means nothing good is coming without a serious cost. But before we get into what is coming, we need to fully understand how we got here. Because episode 8 quietly laid the most explosive groundwork this show has seen all season, and most people miss just how deep it goes. Comic basics. Let's start with Beulah. Following her heart attack, Beulah Jackson survived and is now with Everett McKinney. She has also quit being the manager of Ten Petal Ranch. And honestly, watching that happen felt like the ground shifting under your feet. This woman has been the iron fist of Rio Paloma her entire life. She built Ten Petal Ranch into an empire. She controlled every secret, every move, every person in that town. And then she almost died and something in her just let go. She woke up in that hospital bed and chose love. She chose Everett. She chose a second chance at a life that actually meant something to her. And in a show full of power plays and manipulation, that moment was genuinely moving. Primetimer. But here is the thing about Beulah stepping back. The second she removed herself from the equation, the whole structure of power at Ten Petal Ranch started to crack. Rob Will, who was handed the succession by his own mother's fear, is now operating with zero guardrails. Now that Beulah has no emotional stakes, Rob Will could be about to make his final move. And Rob Will making moves without anyone to check him is genuinely terrifying, because this is a man who has already proven he will kill to protect himself. Wes found that out the hard way. Primetimer. And speaking of Wes, this is where episode 8 truly detonated. Austin revealed the Jackson family's dirty secret to Rip, Beth, and Zachariah. The reason the Jacksons and their ranch survived the 2010 drought, when many others did not, was because of their illegal business in Mexico, specifically stealing and smuggling cattle across the border. Let that sink in. Every other ranch in South Texas was bleeding out during that drought. Families lost everything. Generations of work wiped out. And the Jacksons survived because they were running a criminal operation that entire time. They weren't tougher or smarter or luckier. They were dirty. They were always dirty. Dutton legacy. The FMD-infected bull that decimated Rip and Beth's herd may have been part of the cattle loads being brought across the border. That detail alone reframes much of what the season has been building, turning what appeared to be a run of bad luck into something more calculated and sinister. Beth and Rip didn't just stumble into hard times in Texas. Their herd wasn't wiped out by bad luck or fate. It was destroyed because the family they were working alongside was smuggling diseased livestock across the border. Every single animal they lost, every dollar that burned, every sleepless night wondering if this fresh start was going to survive. All of it traces directly back to Ten Petal Ranch's operation. And now Beth and Rip know it. And if you know anything about Beth Dutton, you already know that kind of information does not make her want to walk away. It makes her want to go to war. Fiction horizon. With the next cattle shipment only days away, the Duttons now have a limited window to act before Rob Will's operation continues. The clock is ticking. The pieces are all on the board. And every single one of them is pointing straight toward a finale that is not going to let anyone breathe easy. This is no longer just a land dispute between two ranches in South Texas. This has become something much bigger, much more dangerous, and much more personal than anyone watching this show back in May could have possibly anticipated. And we haven't even talked about Mariano yet, because that conversation deserves its own moment. Stay with me. Mariano Reyes. That name has been hovering over this entire season like a storm cloud that never quite broke. He was mentioned in episode 3. A phone call rattled Beulah in a way that nothing else had all season. Not Rob Will's threats, not Beth's pressure, not losing control of her own ranch. A single phone call connected to Mariano Reyes made the most powerful woman in Rio Paloma flinch. And the show was careful. Incredibly careful. It kept him off screen for 8 full episodes, building him not as a character but as a presence. A shadow. Something you feel before you ever see it. And now in episode 9 that shadow finally has a face. El Padrino is here. In the Dutton Ranch episode 9 trailer, Mariano enters Beulah's office and gives her a direct warning about the Duttons. You'll send your strangers packing. Or I will. Read that line again slowly. He doesn't ask. He doesn't negotiate. He walks into her office, the office of the woman who raised his son, who built a cattle empire over decades, and he issues a command. That one line tells you everything you need to know about who Mariano Reyes actually is. Beulah Jackson has spent this entire season being the most intimidating person in every room she walked into. And this man walks into her space and speaks to her like she works for him. Because honestly, she probably does. Primetime. Mariano Reyes was first mentioned in episode 3 when Beulah received a phone call that rattled her in a way nothing else has. The show has been careful to keep Mariano off-screen, building him as a presence rather than a character. He is connected to the Mexican side of 10 Petals cattle operation, and based on what Austin revealed, he may be running the smuggling ring that has kept the Jackson family alive, and that killed Beth and Rip's herd. So think about what that means for Beulah's entire legacy. The empire she built, the dynasty she protected, the 190-year anniversary she celebrated. All of it was subsidized by a man she has apparently been answering to this whole time. Beulah was never the top of the food chain. She was just the most visible part of it. Dutton legacy. Now here is where it gets complicated in a way that is genuinely hard to watch. Dutton Ranch episode 7 featured a flashback from Beulah's life revealing that Mariano worked for her father and was responsible for chaperoning her to fairs and events. Despite his initial villainous origins, Mariano was attentive to Beulah, even rescuing her when she landed in trouble with a young cowboy, which eventually led to the birth of Rob Will. So Mariano is not just the godfather of this criminal operation. He is Rob Will's biological father. He is the ghost in Beulah's past that she never fully escaped. And now Joaquin, who is not Rob Will's brother by blood but by circumstance, has called that ghost back from the shadows because he felt he had absolutely nowhere else to turn. Soap Central. In an interview, the actor who plays Joaquin revealed that his character knew making this call was more like a mistake, and that it could destroy many things, including hurting everyone around him. He compared it to pressing a nuke. He knew it would have serious consequences, but he did it anyway. And that is the most heartbreaking part of Joaquin's entire arc this season. He is not a villain. He is a man who dedicated his life to a family that ultimately chose blood over loyalty. He protected Beulah. He managed the ranch. He cleaned up the messes. And when Beulah stood in front of everyone at that anniversary party and named Rob Will as her successor, she didn't just pass over Joaquin. She erased him. And a man who has been erased has nothing left to lose. Soap Central. Joaquin handed Sheriff Wade the gun Rob Will used to kill Wes Ayers back in the first episode. It turns out he kept the incriminating evidence to use against Rob Will once the time came. And that time is now. Unfortunately, it was not enough for the sheriff. He needed Wes's body to build a case. And here is the brutal irony of that moment. Rip already got rid of that body. The one piece of evidence that could have brought Rob Will down through legal channels, the one move that might have ended this entire conflict without bloodshed, it is gone. Buried. Decomposing somewhere on that ranch land. Which means the legal path is closed. The civil path is closed. And all that is left is the path that men like Mariano Reyes walk. Primetime. In the trailer, a convoy of vehicles, most likely Mariano's men, is seen driving toward Rio Paloma, possibly to get rid of their new enemies, Rip Wheeler, Beth Dutton, and their allies. Let that image sit with you. Not one car. A convoy. Mariano is not sending a warning. He is not sending a message. He is sending an army. And that army is pointed directly at the Dutton Ranch. At Beth. At Rip. At Everett. At everyone who has chosen to stand on the wrong side of a man who has apparently been running this part of Texas from the shadows for longer than any of them have been alive. DM talkies. In the middle of the trailer, Beulah is seen sitting across the table from Beth and Rip, telling them, "You were in a hole and so was I." And honestly, that line might be the most emotionally loaded moment in the entire trailer. Because Beulah is not wrong. Both sides came into this season damaged, desperate, and running from something. Beth and Rip came to Texas carrying the wreckage of Yellowstone, trying to build something clean on new land. And Beulah has been living inside a machine she may have never fully controlled, propped up by a criminal operation and a dangerous man she has never been able to fully escape. Two powerful women. Two impossible situations. And now they are sitting across a table from each other, and neither one of them has a clean way out. DM talkies. Beth may have pointed a gun at Beulah, likely holding her accountable for betraying them and keeping secrets. Secrets that not only destroyed their ranch but may also end up ruining their reputation. And this is the moment where the entire season comes full circle. Beulah brought Beth and Rip into her world. She used them. Whether she intended to hurt them or not is almost beside the point now because the result is the same. Their herd is gone. Their money is gone. Their clean, fresh start in Texas has been buried under layers of crime, contamination, and corruption. And Beth Dutton, with a rifle pointed at the person responsible, is not a woman who is asking for an apology. She is asking for a reckoning.